about our partnership that we've had for many, many years. This particular partnership started in the fall of 2000, well, actually it started in January of 2002, but we started talking about this in the fall of 2001. And some of you have heard this, but some of you, especially the new council members, I'll give them a quick update. In the fall of 2001, we had 13.5% unemployment in Jackson County. 9/11 had just hit. I mean, times were as bad as they've ever been. And the chamber board looked at doing something different to try to help our community. And as we do a lot of times in chamber world, we look at other areas that we studied and looked at some other chambers that were having quite a success of putting together a 5-year community and economic development plan, and then finding the money to be able to fund it and change things. So we hired a consulting company out of Austin, Texas, done lots and lots of business in Alabama, and they came in and did an assessment. They interviewed about 100 business leaders and community leaders, elected officials, and they had them identify what the Chamber of Commerce should be doing. And those things were very similar to what we're doing now. And they also said if we could put together a 5-year plan to address those issues, would you invest your time and your money? And almost unanimously all the investors said that they would. So we hired this company, and over the next 5 years we raised $1 million from about 2002 through 2007. And it worked better than we ever thought. My entire budget prior to starting Focus Jackson was about $150,000, and this gave us the money to be able to do a lot more than we'd ever done. The biggest thing we do in the first 5-year plan was finding stable funding for Impact Learning Center. Y'all are, I'm sure, fully aware of the Impact Learning Center, and they had no money, no funding. They were having to beg and borrow and do fundraisers. But the reason the Impact Learning Center was started is because we found out that 42% of the adults in Jackson County did not have a high school diploma or GED. And you cannot compete in today's market with almost half your adults without a high school diploma or GED. Now, through all the partnerships we built through the years, we've lowered that to actually below 27%, which is below the state average. Still nowhere near where we need to be, but we're moving in the right direction. At the same time, we also started a tourism program, which we had a small one, but I was trying to wear both hats and doing a poor job of it. So that, we had some great successes over the next 5 years. Then in 2007, we retooled it, and this time we concentrated on workforce development and education still. We expanded our tourism, and we started business development. And then we just, in 2011, to begin in 2012, we're in our second year, we did it again for a new 5-year program where we concentrate on workforce development and education, destination marketing, tourism, retail and commercial development, and business advocacy. And I just want to touch on those things, and because of the partnerships, what we've been able to do. Workforce development in education, we have partnerships now with the city school system, the county school system, great partnerships with business. We just did our CEO Expo, where we bring in every single 9th grader in Jackson County, Scottsboro City and Jackson County, and we do a hands-on CEO Expo where they can do hands-on on careers rather than handing them a brochure. That's what most of your expos have been in the past. You go through and get a brochure. These are all hands-on, and these are very, very successful. In fact, we're now being copied all over the state. Shared that with the state meeting, and now we've got chambers all over the state coming to us and seeing how we're doing that. Another thing we're doing is we continue to do is choices, where we used to go into the 8th grade classrooms, we now go into the 6th grade classrooms and talk to them, and this is volunteers like y'all, not teachers, and talk to them about the choices that they're making now and how they're going to affect them the rest of their life. Dustin and I just taught a class up at the Skyline this past Friday. We will hit every single 6th grader in Jackson County. And the whole purpose of that is to try to lower our dropout rate, which has definitely been lowered, and we're very successful there. We're doing a training the trainer seminar. We just finished with Maples. We trained almost every single one of their managers on things and how to run their offices better, and it has been tremendously successful. Maples is very, very pleased with that. We have computer classes that's offered almost nightly. We have an adult education program with the Northeast Alabama Community College where we teach English as a second language, adult reading, and GED. We have specific personalized training for any business and any individuals that walks in the Impact Learning Center can get specific training for individuals as far as whether it's computer or whatever, or for businesses, and we're continuing to do that. And then we started pre-K in Scottsboro. We have the pre-K program, one here, we now have one in Woodville, with the intentions of expanding that to every single school in Jackson County once the money becomes available. But again, the Impact Learning Center started the pre-K program. So Impact is done tremendous. I mean, it's tremendous things that happen there. Destination marketing tourism. When we started this program, this Focus Jackson, tourism in Jackson County was $19 million. 2012, it was $55 million. That's how much it's grown since we started an active tourism program. Tourism expenditures were $29,600,000, 2010, $36 million, 2011, $51,500,000, and 2012, $55,243,000. The good part that means to the city of Scottsboro, y'all get 5% of the lodging tax. Goes into your general fund. So that's a direct impact on y'all. Then on top of that, you get sales tax. And I don't have the sales tax figures, but that's huge. Most people are aware that we're responsible for the bass tournaments in town. Right now, we sign contracts for about $45,000 for bass tournaments. They don't come for free. The biggest one is the McDonald's Big Bass Splash. That one cost me, I've done it for 7 years, and I write a check to them for $16,000. The economic impact of that one tournament in 5 days, $2.8 million. So that's a pretty doggone good return. Now the chamber, we don't get our money back, but the community does in big ways. For every contract I sign, I turn down 2. Don't have money. We can do a lot more than we do, but just don't have the money. Y'all, I'm sure have heard all over the news that next year the Bassmasters Classic is coming to Lake Guntersville. We're going to reap huge benefits, but we didn't have to come up with the dollars. The dollars to get that into your community is about $250,000, so it's expensive. Now, the state obviously has the city of Guntersville because they've got a state park there. They got the state docks, but we'll still reap some benefits. But again, and as Brent knows, I know Brent's on the tourism committee and he's been in several meetings. We're still having people come in and asking us to sponsor tournaments. And we're committed for next year. I mean, most tournaments are committed at least a year out. So if anybody comes in for next year, we either come up with another way of funding them or we just don't have the dollars. They're already committed. We're getting real big into the group tour market now through the Alabama Motor Coach Association, the American Bus Association. JP just got back from that and had 75 appointments for the group tour business. And then, of course, the group tour companies. We are now members of the Alabama Bass Trail. Y'all may have seen that on the news. That's huge. They started an Alabama Bass Trail. Membership for that alone is $5,000. Then, if they're going to bring a tournament to Lake Guntersville, that's another $5,000. So it don't take long to add up to some big dollars. Well worth it though, because the return is so big. But we're in fact, JP's on the board of directors for the Alabama Bass Trail. Then of course he goes to travel shows, and so tourism is big business. And again, y'all have got you've got that in your packet. It shows for the last 4 years. Now retail and commercial, everything. All of Melton and Roy and Dust and Jim Hughes, anybody that goes on, all they got to do is show up. That is it. They don't have to do nothing but show up. We line up the meetings, we line up the airline arrangements, the hotel arrangements, the meals, the van to get us around. We do it all, and all they got to do is show up and do their job. And so we're going up with 14 of us on Wednesday, and we'll be back on Thursday evening. And what's unreal, talked to Huntsville. They were up there earlier in the spring, about the same time we were. They have never had all the Session, Chevy, Adderholt, and Brooks go to dinner with them. We got every one of them going to dinner with us Wednesday night. We have built a great relationship with that group, and you've got to go up there. Ask Jerry Hammond the importance of it. And by the way, he's going. Y'all know Jerry. Jerry's the general manager of the Section Dutton Water Board. Ask him how important. He's probably brought back $50 million as a result of doing that, because for infrastructure, it's very important. Then we do our Montgomery trips, and we monitor bills that are through the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and through the Business Council of Alabama. I'm on the Small Business Committee. I'm the chairman of the Small Business Committee for BCA. We're right now putting together our legislative agenda. I'm not a lobbyist, but basically we fight for pro-business bills and fight against anti-business bills, and we do a lot of that. We've now built a great relationship because of some long-time relationship we've had with Joe Rich. Y'all may know Joe. He's the new TVA board member, he's attorney in Huntsville. I've served on with BRAC for him through 3 BRACs for going on 15 years. He calls us on a regular basis, and says, gives us an update of what's happening with TBA. And that's an important contact, and we usually have dinner with him or lunch with him or just sit down and talk with him about once every 2 to 3 weeks. We've never had that before, never. So the area of business advocacy is very, very, very important. So when you get a chance, to those of that have not just renewed or reviewed this recently, look in the very back of this on the accomplishments. We've had some tremendous accomplishments, but it's all because of the partnerships we built. We have about 60, 65 partners. City of Scottsboro is a partner. They're public-private partnerships. Y'all are obviously on the public side, and then we have some other public partners. Majority of them are on the private side. Those are businesses. Our largest private investor is Rock 10. They invest $20,000 a year into this. That's our largest private investor, and then we have a lot of those. Then we do have the public investors. This gives you the breakdown of our goal was to do 1.5 million. We're going to wind up right now. It looks like hitting about 1.350 over 5 years. We're in our second years, and this last page here gives you the breakdown of how we break that investment down, where we spend the dollars. So that gives you an idea of where those dollars go, and then of course the benefits. We couldn't do it without partnering with the City of Scottsboro and Jackson County and all the businesses. And what you have in your packets also is an official letter of request from us, from the board of directors, and then the agreement, which is the contract. Y'all, I'm sure, as you well know, y'all been through all the training. Y'all can't just give money to a chamber of commerce or anybody. But what y'all do, y'all contract out for services, and those services are tourism, because y'all don't have a tourism director, so y'all contract out for ours. Second is workforce development and education. Y'all don't have a program that does workforce development, but we do, so we do it through the Impact Learning Center. Third is business development. What we found out is that DUS did all the industrial recruiting, but nobody was really doing business development and recruiting retail. We now take the lead in that. So y'all don't have that, so y'all contract again out through us. And then of course business advocacy, which is just making sure that pro-business bills are passed on the local, state, and federal level. So y'all getting, you know, what we look at is a pretty good deal. Y'all getting all that for $65,000. Now, if you want to give us more, we'll certainly take that too. But for the last 2 years, it's been $65,000. We will certainly hope that y'all will consider keeping us at that level of investment, because your return is probably more than any investor we have, because y'all get the sales tax and the lodging tax. I flew through that fairly quick.